Today, we are digging deep into the past, and we're going to uncover how two, well, seemingly small changes sparked one of history's biggest leaps forward. We're headed to the ancient Aegean world, where a quiet revolution was brewing, one that would set the stage for everything that came after.
So think about it for a second. What's the secret ingredient? What is it that takes a simple settlement, just a collection of huts, and transforms it into the foundation of a legendary civilization? Well, the answer, as it turns out, isn't just about kings or some epic battles. It's actually found in the everyday objects people used, and you guessed it, the homes they built.
All right, let's set the scene. We're in the ancient Aegean, so think Crete, the Cycladic islands, mainland Greece. This whole area, this whole world, is on the verge of a massive, massive transformation. They're moving away from simple shelters and basic tools towards something much, much more complex.
Now here's something you've got to understand. These communities were not isolated. Not at all. The Aegean Sea wasn't some barrier, it was a superhighway. You had boats constantly moving between the islands and the mainland, and they were carrying goods, raw materials, and, this is the most important part, new ideas. This created this incredible, dynamic network where innovation could just spread like wildfire.
And right in the middle of this interconnected world, two things were happening at pretty much the exact same time that would change everything. First, people were finally mastering the art of metalworking. And second, they were learning to build permanent, sophisticated houses. These are the twin pillars, you could say, that would support a whole new kind of society.
Okay, so let's dive into our first pillar of change, the revolutionary shift from stone to metal. And I'm not exaggerating when I say this was a technological leap as significant as, the internet is for us today. It was a complete game changer.
I mean, for thousands of years, humanity relied on stone, and stone tools worked, sure, but they were brittle, they were hard to shape with any real precision, and once a tool broke, that was pretty much it. But metal, first copper, then bronze, was on a whole other level. It was stronger, way more durable, and get this, if a tool broke, you could just melt it down and make a new one. This opened up an entire universe of new possibilities.
And you know what? This was not easy. Just think about the incredible intelligence and trial and error it took. First, you had to find the right rocks. Then you had to build a furnace hot enough to actually melt them, figure out how to get the metal out, and then learn how to shape it. These ancient metalworkers were true innovators. They were like a combination of geologists, chemists, and artists all rolled into one.
And the impact went way beyond just having better tools. Metal literally transformed society from the ground up. Suddenly, farming was more efficient, construction got more precise, and because metal was so difficult to produce, owning it became a symbol of wealth and power, which started creating brand new social hierarchies.
So, let's move over to our second pillar. Because at the exact same time people were mastering metal, they were also completely revolutionizing the very idea of what a home could even be.
The big shift was from these simple one-room huts made of mud and thatch to sturdy, multi-room houses built with stone and timber. Now, this wasn't just an upgrade. It was a fundamental change in how people were thinking. They weren't just building for temporary shelter anymore. No, they were building for the long term, for a permanent, stable community.
And the one single feature that tells you everything about this new permanence? The roof tile. See, tiles are heavy, really heavy. To support them, you need stronger walls, you need better engineered beams, you basically need a plan. A tiled roof is a massive investment. It's a declaration that you're here and you are here to stay.
And this really gets to the heart of why architecture matters so much. A house isn't just a building, it's kind of like a machine for living. The way it's designed literally shapes how a family, and by extension a whole society, functions day to day.
By creating different rooms for different things, a place for cooking, a separate place for sleeping, another for storing food and tools, life just becomes way more organized, more efficient. It suggests a more complex family structure and a community that could actually plan for the future, storing surplus food and allowing for specialized labor.
Okay, so we've got better tools and we've got better houses. Two massive leaps forward happening at roughly the same time. So, was this just a happy coincidence?
Right? Were people just getting smarter at making tools and smarter at building houses at the same time, totally independent of each other? Or was there maybe a deeper connection at play here?
The answer is a big, fat no. This was not a coincidence at all. These two pillars were locked together in this powerful feedback loop, where each innovation was actually accelerating the other one.
And you can see this cycle in action. It's beautiful. Better metal tools, like saws and chisels, made it possible to build stronger, more complex houses. These better houses led to stable, permanent villages. And those stable villages could support specialized craftspeople, like metalworkers, who could then dedicate all their time to creating even better tools. It just kept feeding itself over and over again.
And what was the engine powering this whole cycle? Trade. Remember that highway? Materials like copper and tin, which you need to make bronze, they weren't available everywhere. They had to be shipped across the sea. And right alongside them traveled the ideas and the techniques for how to use them, which just accelerated progress across the entire region.
Now, we don't know this story from some grand legend or an epic poem. We know it because of the patient, incredibly detailed work of archaeologists who have been uncovering the physical evidence these people actually left behind.
They're the ones who find the stone foundations that trace the outlines of these multi-room homes. They find those little broken pieces of roof tiles. They unearth the bronze tools themselves and even the industrial waste, stuff like slag from furnaces and the old clay molds that proves metalworking was happening right there. These are the clues that tell the real story.
And what this all leads to is, well, it's incredible. These early, quiet achievements in toolmaking and home building way back around 3000 BCE, they laid the essential groundwork for the legendary civilizations that were still to come. Without these foundations, you simply don't get the grand Minoan palaces on Crete 1,000 years later, or the mighty Mycenaean citadels that would come to dominate mainland Greece.
And that really is the ultimate takeaway here. True lasting progress isn't always driven by famous rulers or some huge dramatic event. More often than not, civilization is built brick by brick, tool by tool, through the slow accumulation of practical improvements that make everyday life better, safer, and more organized for everyone.
It really leaves you wondering, doesn't it? What are the seemingly small innovations happening today in our tools, in our homes, in the way we connect with each other that are quietly laying the foundation for the world of tomorrow? What are the feedback loops that we're living in right now that we might not even see?